What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another live stream for you guys. Just to let you know, we are taking callers on this show. Link is in the community section right now, so go and click that link and come and have your say. But let's get into the headline for today, and that is Arne Slot to Spurs is off. And there's been a quote from Arne Slot, and let's read that out. It says, "I've been hearing a lot of rumours going around about the clubs, about other clubs interested in me. Although I'm thankful, but my wish is to stay at Feyenoord and to continue the work that we have created last year. There is not, and there has not been a transfer conversation, and yesterday's meeting was exclusively for an extension. All talks with the club have always been only in that sense. Looking forward to next season with Feyenoord." Let's get into the journalists and what they're saying as well. Sky Sports saying that Tottenham have walked away from a deal from Arne Slot because of a disagreement over compensation. Feyenoord wanted 10 million for Slot and an extra 5 million for his backroom staff. Telegraph in Holland are reporting that Feyenoord are asking for 20 million euros for Arne Slot from Tottenham in a deal that would include the assistant coaches and performance, blah, blah, blah. That's not happening. Romano says that Arne Slot to Tottenham is off. Arne Slot reached an agreement over a contract yesterday in the meeting with Feyenoord. Slot will sign a new contract with Feyenoord very soon. Slot's decision won't change and he will not be joining Tottenham. And The Independent said that Arne Slot had concerns over Tottenham's current structure and how he would work in that system.
The PR machine is currently in overdrive right now to really gain the narrative of why Slot is not going to be joining Tottenham. Literally, as long ago as like 12 hours ago, everything seemed very positive on the Arne Slot news. It seemed as though Feyenoord were looking at replacements, or they were saying they're already lining up new managers. Slot was desperate to come to Tottenham. Apparently, Feyenoord offered him this mega contract and he turned them down, and it looked like Tottenham was nailed on. But all of a sudden, I wake up this morning and Slot's done. Slot's not happening. He's signing a new contract with Feyenoord. He's not interested in any rumours. Spurs say it's because of a compensation fee. Slot's saying it's because of Slot's camp is saying it's because of concerns over the direction of the club. I mean, I tend to believe that because that's what we're hearing from every other manager. There's surely no smoke without fire. We're hearing from Nagelsmann, concerns over the structure of the club with no sporting director, and then Spurs say, oh, actually, he was never in contention, as if that was ever true. Now Nagelsmann saying actually there's concerns over the structure of the club and no sporting director and what role he'll play, and Spurs saying actually it was the compensation fee. We really want this manager and we really think he can revolutionise the whole club and we can actually rebuild this whole club around him, but we won't pay 15 million. That's our stance, apparently. That's our public stance.
As if that was 60 million on Richarlison.
Yeah, as if that's like a acceptable position. You have apparently you've done your due diligence on a manager. Apparently you've done all the research. You've looked at his time at Holland and you've seen actually this guy can rebuild a team on a shoestring budget like he's done at Feyenoord. He plays attractive football. He can bring the Spurs DNA back. He can work with young players. He'll be happy to come. He'll make it our first choice. But we actually won't pay the 15 million. Is that, am I supposed to believe that's their public position? Am I supposed to believe that's the truth? It's, in fact, that's either absolute rubbish, which I'm sure it is, or that's an actual utterly pathetic position to hold as a top six or supposedly top six football club in the Premier League who were trying to do things the right way. Like, if you're not going to pay 15 million for a manager who you believe can bring the Spurs DNA back to the club and actually have a rebuild, build a rebuild around, if you won't pay 15 million for him, I'm supposed to believe that's your position. That's pathetic if that's the truth. They have absolute zero PR relations, this club. They don't know they have no idea what they're doing in terms of putting out the right messaging when it comes to why a deal hasn't happened. Again, as I said for the Nagelsmann news, they are taking us for absolute fools if they expect us to believe they're not prepared to pay 15 million for a manager who's their number one choice. Absolute garbage. It's garbage.
Is anyone actually surprised, like, what is going on at this football club? We've burnt so many managers now. We didn't want to engage in conversations with Pochettino. They wanted to put out there that we rejected Nagelsmann when actually Nagelsmann was the one that rejected us. How many other managers are we going to be on the verge of getting or very heavily linked to, and then they're going to come out and say and make up some excuses why we're not going to get them.
They don't want to. Yeah.
The reasons why managers don't want to come here is because we don't have any ambition at this football club. It's the facts of the matter. And this is going to happen time and time again. We're going to go and get our 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th choice, and we're going to have no future at this football club. That is exactly what is going on. How many managers now are going to turn us down? We're 10 days away. Is it 10 days away, 11 days away from that 71-day marker to beat our own record, which Daniel Levy said will not happen again because they're working so hard, or whatever the line was, to make sure that doesn't happen again. Well, we're very close to that happening right again. And not only that, but better managers are rejecting us this time than last time.
Absolutely. And we're just, I don't even think it's more of a lack of ambition. It's just it's incompetence. We don't know a strategy and a way forward in terms of competing with modern day football clubs, with how they're structured, how they're doing things with a philosophy and a plan in place, with a brand of football they want to play within the club, and getting people that will match that, with the sporting director managing and marrying that up with a manager and getting everyone in with a cohesive vision. We just don't know how to do it. We don't know what we're doing in that sense, and we're basically pissing in the wind essentially when it comes to trying to find a manager who's going to basically bring that to the club. We're interviewing managers, right, where we're telling these managers, all right, we want to do this, this, and this. But when the managers coming in, they don't know who their boss is going to be. They don't know who they're going to be working with. So obviously there's going to be major concerns. So how can I commit myself to a long-term project where right out the gate, you're going to appoint someone who I don't know who you're going to appoint, like within the first few weeks or months of me coming to this club, and I don't know who that person's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to get on with that person. I don't know if we have the same shared vision or anything like that. This is what we've been saying all along when it comes to this Slot news as well. Yes, I'm happy with Arne Slot. I like the sound of him as manager, but I want him to come within a good structure so that everyone's on the same page and we're doing things in the right way. And we're not doing things in the right way right now. And managers are coming here and saying, what's your plan? What's going on? We don't have the answers. So we're just expecting them to accept that and just roll with the punches essentially, and just go with whatever we tell them. And because Tottenham's such a big club, we expect them to just kind of roll over. And say, yeah, well, I'll accept any of the terms. Even a club like Feyenoord, where you really expect he would be jumping at the chance to join Tottenham. He's looking and thinking, look, I've got a good thing going at Feyenoord. I'm doing a really good job. Like, Tottenham right now don't seem to have their house in order. Why would I jump ship and put all my eggs in this basket when they don't know what direction they're going in right now?
What did Conte say? If this club keeps going in the same direction, it doesn't even matter what manager comes in anyway. The same results is going to keep happening. We can't even get a manager through this door, never mind getting a new manager. We are getting put to shame by Brighton. We are getting put to shame by Brighton on every level possible at the moment, yeah? Graham Potter gets poached by Chelsea. Within a week, they have Roberto De Zerbi, right? They had one manager choice that they earmarked. They went out and they went and got him. No matter what the structure is or whatever it took to got him, they went and got him. It's taken us now twice. It's going to take us over 70 days to hire a manager. It's an absolute joke. Like, how are we getting put to shame by Brighton? Look at the size of the club they are, and look at the budgets that they've got and the revenues that they bring in and everything. We're a multi-billion-pound club. Levy thinks this club is worth $6 billion or whatever it is. Like, how has it got to this stage? How are we getting put to shame by Brighton?
Lack of long-term planning, which not only have Tottenham fans been saying, but now you hear players saying it. Højbjerg was saying, when you have 3 managers in a season, that is a consequence of lack of long-term planning. And that only comes down to the hierarchy. The hierarchy don't know what they're doing from a footballing perspective. We've said it for a very, very long time now. And now it's coming home to roost now. We're seeing managers turn us down left, right, and centre. All our first choices are coming out saying that they can't see a pathway within this club. We convinced Mourinho and Conte to come here off the back of the Pochettino regime, where Spurs were on the up. We were making Champions League final. We were getting top 4 regularly. We seemed to know what we were doing in terms of progressing as a club. But we have now fallen so far behind all the other clubs in terms of how settled they are, their planning for the long term, their structure from a footballing sense, their recruitment as well, how they recruit players. We're 2023 and we're just now seeing the value in data analysis. It's like of course, managers looking at this like, what have you been doing? What's going on in this football club for a footballing operation? Do you know how to structure a football club for success, and how to know what you want? I feel like we don't know what we want as a football club in terms of moving forward. We have no idea what we want, which is leading to a difference in philosophies. All these different sporting directors that we're talking to, it's leading to different managers.
Are we even talking to any sporting directors anymore?
Well, supposedly we're supposed to. I don't know. I hope we better be, because otherwise I don't know how we could convince the manager to come here without that structure. Because I don't want a manager dealing with the hierarchy for any footballing terms. So we need that more separation between the hierarchy and the management, and the sporting director would be that, and he would know the market a lot better than the hierarchy and all that kind of different stuff. So I think this club is just an absolute mess, and now this is a consequence. It's I saw a good quote on social media the other day. This is like Daniel Levy's house of cards crumbling right now, and this is what we're seeing in front of our eyes. Every manager taking their turn to reject Tottenham. And who are we going to be left with at the end of this?
Well,
and we're burning bridges as well at the end.
I'll tell you exactly.
We shouldn't be. We've said this all along. We shouldn't even be approaching Nagelsmann right now. We shouldn't even be approaching Slot right now before we have everything in place to convince them to come to this club. Because all we're going to do is alienate them and give them a chance to reject us, and give a chance for Slot to sign a contract, give a chance to Nagelsmann to be snapped up by another club. That's all we're doing right now by approaching them in this way, and this is what's happening.
Well, in terms of where do we go from here, let's just read you this list of names of the odds, the betting of who the favourites are to become the new Spurs manager. Just bear in mind that Arne Slot, as of last night, was heavy favourites with the bookies. I think he was like below evens even. He is now between, you can get him at, the lowest price you can get him at is like 9-1, which is quite a big price, but most bookies are doing it between 12 and 16, even going as high as 20. The favourite now to take the new Spurs job is Brendan Rodgers, followed by Ange Postecoglou, Luis Enrique, who's not going to come, Julian Nagelsmann, who's not going to come, Ruud van Nistelrooy, who's I think he just announced he's leaving PSV yesterday, right? He's in the running. Ruben Amorim, Julian Lopetegui, Spalletti. I mean, Spalletti's leaving Napoli at the end of the season, but I mean, none of these names really excite me that much anymore. After we've burnt Nagelsmann and after we've burnt Slot, those were my two big options who I thought that could really take this club forward. Like, did any of those names really excite you and think like, wow, we're going places?
Definitely not. They seem to be backup options, which they are. They seem to be options which are basically we have to compromise on. The last time we compromised on our manager list, we ended up sacking him after 2 months. That's what happened. So based on that, you can't get excited on Tottenham getting again rejected left, right and centre. Going to end up appointing an 8th choice, and when he doesn't have a good start, we're going to end up sacking him very quickly, and we're not going to end up, because why would you invest time? Why would you have patience for a manager that you didn't really believe in the first place? You know what I mean? If the guy is 8th or 9th choice, and then all of a sudden he has a bad run of results, there's nothing within you that's not going to stop. That's going to stop you from pulling that trigger, because you never really wanted him. You wanted other guys. So what it's going to lead to is another desperate scramble for. To
be fair, Poch wasn't our first choice either.
Poch wasn't our first choice, and he said he felt like he nearly got sacked, but it wasn't for that Harry Kane goal. To be fair,
yeah.
He said he might have well been sacked if that goal didn't go in. So a bit of luck fell his way, and luckily he ended up turning things around.
Look, let's be honest, right? In the whole Daniel Levy tenure, every single manager has been a failure. Every single one, apart from ones where he's been super lucky. And Pochettino, he got super lucky with. That's the only one that's really been a major success here. I know Harry Redknapp did well getting into the top 4. But even him, like, he'd done the dirty with all the transfer business and stuff like that. But Pochettino, the most successful manager in Tottenham's Premier League history, was a complete stroke of luck, because he wanted Louis van Gaal. And if we got Louis van Gaal, he probably would have been out the door within 6 to 18 months. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's time for Daniel Levy to step aside. It really is time for Daniel Levy to step aside. We can't keep going through these motions every single time. We haven't had a manager for a full season since Pochettino, since the year that we got to the Champions League final. It's an absolute joke. Like, on what basis? On what basis has Daniel Levy done a good job? And what basis does he think he's doing a good job? And on what basis does he think that he should be staying in this role? He's outstayed his welcome, and he needs to step aside now. He really needs to step aside. Keep on the business side of things. Keep with your gentrifying the Tottenham area, building your hotels, skywalks and all this kind of stuff, abseiling, go-karting, stick to bringing that side of the stuff, but stay away. Stop micromanaging every facet of the footballing side, because you're clearly not good at it. And it's just getting us deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole. There is no reason for you to be there anymore.
There's one thing the fans saying it, but surely he has to start waking up when managers start looking at Tottenham and turning up their nose and saying, I actually don't think you know what you're doing, really. And they keep rejecting us. Surely the penny has to drop at some point for this ownership that they have no clue how to run a football club on the footballing side. When professionals in the game are looking at them and Tottenham should look. There's everything there, right? What isn't exciting about Tottenham when you think about the stadium and the training facilities and the scope to maybe win something which we haven't won in a while? You've got players like Harry Kane there. You've got there are some good players there that you could maybe work with. So what isn't exciting about that project? The one thing that is holding these managers back is how the club is run. That's the only thing. Everything is in place except for them sticking their noses in footballing business where it doesn't belong. And that is what's holding us back right now. And I think it's clear for all to see. And now, not only are fans been calling out for years, but now it's not just fans. Now the media is starting to see it a lot clearly. I'm starting to see a lot more articles about why Spurs are where they are from a footballing point of view and why they've fallen behind. And now managers are coming here and being interviewed and rejecting us out of hand because they don't see a vision and a plan at Tottenham. And when that starts happening, you can do all the PR you want. Oh, we didn't want to pay the release clause. Oh, he was never in contention. You can do all the PR you want. That's all just to save face. The reality is they don't want to come here because of you. And that is clear for all to see. And, I mean, there's no getting away from that. And that surely has to the penny has to drop for them at some point. That they are the problem. They'll never admit it. Their ego is too big. Levy's ego is massive. That's why he has to win every single negotiation, because there's a massive ego. And that's probably in his way right now, thinking, I'm not the problem. I can't do anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. Look at where we were in the 90s. I'm doing a great job. But that time has passed. We're now in 2023, right? And now we have to run things in a different way. Football evolves, everything evolves, and they have not moved with the times whatsoever. The fact of case in point with the data analytics, not seeing the value in it until 2023. Like, that is a case in point. That is a great example of where they're lagging behind. And everyone can see it. It's like the emperor has no clothes. Everyone can see that he's naked and they can't see it.
Yeah.
And that's the reality.
It's the facts. That's absolute facts. It really is. But when you're looking at 6 years ago, Spurs were ahead of the curve. 6 years ago, Spurs were, fighting for titles, getting to Champions League finals. Looked like Spurs were run really well. We were probably sitting here saying how well Spurs are run. We were the envy of a lot of Premier League teams. Since then, we've let Arsenal overtake us. We've let Man United come back and overtake us. We've let Newcastle now come and overtake us. And we've even let the likes of teams like Brighton overtake us. I'm not going to put Aston Villa in that. There's still a case for that, but I'm not going to put Aston Villa in that. But when you're looking at teams like Brighton coming and overtaking us, that is when you got to draw the line. You have to draw the line. I can kind of understand Arsenal and Man United because they're massive clubs, but when you look at Brighton and what they're all about and the budgets that they have and everything like that, it's nothing short of disgusting, to be honest. And when you're looking at the Brighton board, by the way, Paul Barber, who's on the Brighton board, I'm pretty sure he was on the Spurs board with Daniel Levy.
That's another great point. There's so many great football people in hierarchies right now around the Premier League, which were at Tottenham, and we have let them go.
Why?
because they don't want to work with his hierarchy,
Exactly.
or because we didn't realise their value. Michael Edwards, Paul Barber, there's Paul Mitchell's not in the Premier League right now, but he was another great one. There's a few others as well who are currently in high positions in other Premier League clubs and doing a great job. Yet they were at Tottenham. And they probably were maybe not doing a bad job at Tottenham, but we either didn't see the value of them or the job strained on them. They end up leaving, and it's not because they're incompetent. The only incompetent people are the ones still there. That's the reality.
Look, I think the fact of the matter is we're in this situation. We've been in this situation for a while now, and nothing is ever going to change unless Levy and Enoch dramatically change their stance on how to run this football club, or they take a step aside and let other people run this football club, the footballing side of this football club, or they just sell up and leave completely. Nothing is going to change. Those are the three options. If they don't take one of those three options and just carry on and bury their heads in the sand and thinking they're doing a great job, this is going to happen time and time again. And I won't be surprised if 71 days that record turns into 80 days, 90 days, 100 days. What are people going to say if we got 100 days without a manager? Start eating into the transfer window now.
Yeah.
You know, it's an absolute joke. Like, on top of that, you know, you've got this ginormous rebuild that you need to do at this football club from top to bottom. And they're just wasting their time, not getting their targets in.
And it's not like we haven't had the time. We knew to replace Paratici, we knew he was leaving a long time ago. They could have easily started sounding out replacements very early on and have them in place. I don't know how long it's been since he's left now, but it must be weeks at least, probably a month. Conte left at the end of March, so we've had time to sort that out as well, and we're digging our heads in the sand. So it's not like there hasn't been the opportunity. It's not like we're being unfair. The Spurs have no foresight. We just don't know what we're doing as a football club from a footballing point of view. We don't have any long-term planning. We have no foresight as to for progression planning as well. We just we tried to keep a good thing and just hang on to it as long as possible instead of planning for the future. And that's where we're at the moment. And it's the chickens are coming home to roost.
Anyway, why are you complaining anyway? Aren't you excited to do the go-karting next year?
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for Beyonce next week.
Beyonce next week.
Oh my God,
exactly.
Beyonce next week. Time to get excited, people.
Exactly. The big stars are coming to Tottenham Hotspur.
Exactly.
Just not on the football pitch, as Levy wanted. But look, that's our take on the Arne Slot situation. The way this club is run is an absolute joke. We're going to get you guys on to have your say. So do click the link in the community section below if you do want to come on and have your say. Let's just get onto the super chats just before we do, and we do have a fiery person up for you first. Let's just say that NP17 Spurs says thoughts on Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a massive fan of Rodgers as much as he's been done well at a few other Premier League clubs. I just don't think he's the right person for Tottenham right now for what we need. And I think as well, if it starts going wrong quickly for Rodgers, then I can see it unraveling quite quickly, which I'm worried about. But I do think he's a good manager. I don't think he's the right fit right now for Tottenham, in my opinion.
I agree. I don't think he is the right fit when you take into account the names that have been linked to us with the Julian Nagelsmanns and the Arne Slots. But I do think that he can do an okay job here. I wouldn't be like super excited if he came here, but I do think people are giving him a worse rap than maybe what he deserves. Jaden saying that Shambolic FC Levy has to go. I pray new owners bid. Anvil saying purple and gold until Tottenham are sold. Nicholas Walker saying predictions. 1, we let Mason stay on. 2, Kane goes to Man United with Maguire as a partial return. 3, Dyer signs a contract the day after the season is done. I wouldn't be surprised if any of those happen, to be honest. Orlando Bloom says Daniel Levy is completely and utterly out of his depth. He got lucky with Pochettino and lucky Harry Kane through the academy, and the luck has run out. That's also a great point. It's like, if Harry Kane never came through this academy, like, where would we be?
Yeah, absolutely. We are so lucky he just came out of nowhere and just started smashing out immediately out of the academy, because no one foresaw how good he was going to become, Harry Kane. It wasn't like there was a plan for it. It just happened. And if it wasn't for him, we would be completely screwed right now as a football club. And he's been carrying us on his shoulders for 10 years, essentially. And without him, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. The Lion Sam saying, thanks for voicing what I'm feeling. It's humiliating to be lied to by your own club in such an obvious way. Every year, a Keystone Cops search for a manager, mistake after mistake. Absolutely spot on. Ryan Isaacs, big up Ryan, says, shambles. Wolfsby says, Levy, step down or face the heat. And Rich Frith saying, this is so embarrassing. How much more are we supposed to take as fans? Enough. Hashtag Levy out.
Yeah, don't disagree with that. It is, I mean, we've been through this so many times now. It's like, how can we, like, expect anything to change? Like, how can I have confidence? Like, everyone says he's got to get the next one right. He's got to get the next one. But how can I have any confidence in that? Even if he makes a good appointment, how can I have any confidence he's going to get anything right now with what's been happening over the last 5 years at this football club and where they've headed? They're just making bad decision after bad decision.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, I think it's time to get on our first guest of the day. And I'm sure you could have guessed it because... Oh, wait, first of all, let me have this balloon. There you go. Get your balloons, people. Get your balloons. Get your balloons. But anyway, let's bring on Brian Daigle. How you doing, Brian? There you go.
Loving it, mate. Loving it, Ben. Representing Ben and Sim. Representing... good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the 1.7 thousand people watching. And as Ben and I will say on a regular basis, just another day in paradise at the shit show that is Tottenham Hotspur Business Club.
Let's be honest, Brian. Are you surprised? Are you surprised by any of this news coming out today?
Ben, as you know, we spoke yesterday. And
and what did I say to you? What did I say to you?
Listen, mate, just this football club is it is broken. It is broken. No matter what happens, I mean, it weren't even 9 a.m. here, all right? It was 9 a.m. in Amsterdam. And this is what happens. This is what happens. We peacock about, we show our cards, and now we're getting played by managers that want contract extensions. This is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
We are now. We were used as a stepping stone for players' agents to use to get better contracts for their players or better transfer deals. Look at Diaz. Look at others. Well, now managers in. All right, he's won the league, but this is let's not get this twisted. The Dutch league is no comparison to the English Premier League, and we're getting used as a stepping stone to get a better contract. This is where we are as a football club.
Where do we go from here, Brian?
As I've said before, and I'm going to say it again so people can hear it loud and clear, and I've said it on this channel, I think, first. I don't care about the starting lineup. I don't care about the formation. I don't care about passages of play. I don't care who the scouting network is.
Sounds like a good song, Brian.
Mate, I don't care how high the skywalk is or how many you do. I don't care how fast the go tracks are. I don't care how many concerts we have. I have one objective and one objective only, is to stop this repeating itself over and over again, and it will keep happening until this board and that owner and that chairman are long gone from this football club. Once you've gone, build whatever you want, invest wherever you want, do whatever you want. I wish you a life full of health and prosperity. But whilst you're at this football club, you are public enemy number one to me. And I'm not going to stop, and neither are the people that I do everything with going to stop until this goes away, and it ain't going to go away until they're gone.
Brian, obviously fans have been banging on about Levy on social media and whatever. You've been outside the ground for a long time, but do you notice a difference, like with how the media are starting to report on the hierarchy, and also with like managers rejecting us left, right, and centre now, and also stating like the hierarchy and how they run things as a reason? Do you think maybe the wider footballing world is starting to wake up to what is really going on at Tottenham?
Do you know what? I mean, you've got this is how bad it is. You look at it. Ollie Holt did a tremendous piece last week, highlighting exactly what you're saying, Simeon, and showing that the media are now reporting it more. Ollie Holt himself had to come out and say, I don't know why I'm getting attacked so much by Spurs fans for this article. That's how bad it's got. The media is talking about it. The media are speaking openly and reporting a lot about it. Because let's face it, this has been a situation where it's been the Spurs fans that have been, or like myself and all the other protesters, Stel and everyone like that, that have been saying this for ages and not being listened to. And now they are being listened to. And now it's not just us. It's away fans. It's travelling fans. Everywhere knows that this is a problem. Ollie Holt does a tremendous piece on it. And he gets attacked by Spurs fans. I just don't understand where everyone else can see this. And portions of our fan base are still going on like there's nothing to see. If you look at it, the current state of affairs, like I tweeted this morning, Sim, we have a chairman no one wants to talk to or operate with or deal with, whether it be managers, financial, transfers, whatever. We've had directors of football that have left because they're either corrupt or not listened to or heard and allowed to invoke their blueprint. We have managers that aren't backed when they're there and then don't want to talk to us now when we're looking for a manager. In fact, we're being used as a stepping stone to get what these managers want elsewhere. Yet we, as a collective, spend too much time bitching with each other, or going, "No, you can't possibly right," or "No, you're wrong," or being very, very rude, offensive, and abusive to each other, which I do not condone under any circumstances. The rudeness and being abusive on both sides. Yet here we are saying that everything is rosy, or not as a whole, seeing that there is a very, very, very big problem at this football club.
And the PR is just absolutely abysmal at this football club as well. I mean, first of all, the Nagelsmann thing, the brief from the club for the Nagelsmann deal falling through is because he was never a contender anyway. We were never going to talk to him, and we never really wanted him anyway. So apparently that was the word from the club, which was astonishing to hear if that's true. And now the brief from the club on this one is apparently we didn't want to pay the fee that Feyenoord were demanding, which was about £15 million. I mean, either they think we're absolutely stupid or going to believe it, or if it is true, if we are going to take it at face value, it makes it seem worse for them. So I don't understand why they would brief something that makes them seem so bad.
Well. So you look at it, and this is the bit that's getting me when you look at it with the fee. It's like, you've courted this guy, you've done your due diligence, you've made him, this is your number one. You know there's going to be a fee. Why are you going and spending all this time and peacocking around and strutting your stuff that this is the guy, this is the way we want to go? You go to get him, of course there's going to be a fee. You've publicly admitted your admiration for him. You've intended to make a move for him. He's just won a league title, and then you won't pay the fee, but you'll go back to somewhere like Nuno, like I've said many times. We're going to end up doing all this like season ticket renewal dates. People just remember that the fees are coming in. These are why these names are being called, and here we go. The managers are going to be saying, no, we're not coming. All just in time. I want to thank Arne Slot for turning us down prior to this going ahead. He's cut it short. Thank you, Arne Slot, for calling it out as it is, rather than letting the club drag this on and lead fans to believe. But Simeon, you had another thing that you say, and I was talking to Ben about this on the phone last night. You talk about the way this being portrayed. This is how bad this club is. We are in our worst situation that we have been in recent history. And a few days ago, it might have been yesterday or the day before, the club doer on this day a year ago, we qualified for the Champions League by beating Norwich 5-0. They released that on all their social medias, going, on this day. And you're like, well, let's fast forward a year. We've gone through 3 managers, a director of football.
What about on this day?
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait for this time next year when they're going to do this again, because they have to do it. So it's like, how embarrassing is this football club? I mean, I've just been sent something. Apparently, the trust have released something today based on the One Hotspur membership and the price increases. It's just every single day there is something bad. I mean, I think honestly, they should say to the Spurs official media team or social media needs to take a timeout. Don't just go radio silent unless there is like breaking news, because all this stuff you're doing, you are getting bombarded, and it's embarrassing. Like when we won the FA Cup against Forest on this day 31 years ago, or 32, we won the FA Cup. Okay, well done, Spurs. Highlight it a little bit more.
Why didn't they say on that tweet about when we won the FA Cup? Oh, on this day we claimed the most FA Cups in FA Cup history, and now we've been over-trumped by Manchester United, Arsenal, and level with Liverpool.
Yeah, it beggars belief what this club is doing. This club on every single department is broken. Now, I am going to keep saying this, as I've said it a long time, because people need to realise this. People like myself, Stel, Billy Carnes, all the others that we do protests with, or me and Stel, I'm going to talk about me and Stel for a bit, will come onto this channel from when we started, and we spoke about this relentlessly. And we got a lot of criticism for it. A lot of criticism for it. And had debates even with you two. Debates, not arguments, debates. We were talking about this and got absolutely annihilated. I stood outside a training ground in last January, with Ryan Isaacs, Graham, a few others, and then it gained more momentum, saying the same thing. We're here again, but now thankfully we're in a place where it is spoken about very, very heavily. Very, very heavily. Because what we've been saying, you might not agree with the message we tried to portray or how we portrayed it, but everything that we were arguing about or trying to get out there to say, how can you accept this? There you go, Ben. There you go. There you go. Hold it up like a trophy. We've won a trophy. We don't
do that at Tottenham.
But this is where we are. We're at this point now, and we've got to do something. We have got to, I mean, it's not that people have got to see where this is right now and say, no more do I accept this, no more do I want this, and try to force this, or not, force may be the wrong word, but we're in a position now where we're a wounded animal. We are a wounded animal, and everyone is just preying around us, and we're a banter club. Facts. And we deserve everything coming our way. Everything that comes our way, whether it be West Ham winning Ben, what did I say to you last week? And I'll say it live here. I hope West Ham United win the Conference League. That's right. I hope they win it. All the banter that comes our way, deserve it. A trophy before us, a European trophy before us. But here we go. Oh yeah, but they tried to struggle. If they win the Europa Conference League, they've had a better season than us.
Oh,
period.
Of course
period. But yet still it'll be, oh, it's a Mickey Mouse club, and oh, they almost got relegated, and oh, this and oh, that. And also, what you mentioned as well, Simeon, before, and I had to get Harry Kane. You just mentioned him. Where will we be without him? You're going to get up to me, and I'll put the bet on with you again for mental health charities. He's gone this summer. He's gone. Since these interviews, oh yeah, we're going to see what the club says, blah, blah, blah. Well, you've lost out on Nagelsmann. You tried to spin it. It backfired on you. You've now tried to go for Arne Slot. It's backfired on you. Everything. Does this make Harry Kane think, oh yes, now I believe that we're really going to push for it this summer? This is going to be the season where we really do things. The problem is the price. That's the thing that's probably keeping Harry Kane here.
Brian, the Athletic has just done an article on Tottenham's managerial search, and one of the quotes in the article says, during conversations with various sources over the last few weeks, a recurring theme has been the idea that Tottenham are a manager's graveyard. It's been suggested that some prospective head coaches have looked at that and been given pause for thought.
I don't think we need a article from the Athletic to say that. I mean, it's been pretty obvious that for ages now. To be honest, we've burnt Mourinho, burnt Pochettino, burnt Antonio Conte. Who else is going to want to join us? We said that before we hired Antonio Conte. We said when Antonio Conte came in here, if Conte comes here and not win anything and fails, who else is going to join us? We said that, and we're in that situation now.
Exactly, and take a minute. Talks may have begun with Harry Kane. That's what they'll try and do. Doesn't mean he's staying. Would you stay right now? I'm a Tottenham mate. I'd be trying to get out of Tottenham as quickly as I could right now if I was in Harry Kane's position. I'm being serious. If I want to win a trophy, that's what I want. I'm running. It's just embarrassing. A team that can attract Harry or has Harry Kane, you get the opportunity to work with this unbelievable talent. And as the Athletic have said, we have become a manager's graveyard. People are running in the other direction to stay away from this place.
And Brian, does it say a lot to you when teams like Brighton are overtaking us, right? With the budgets that they have, they've got Paul Barber on the board there, who's getting all this kind of plaudits for doing the amazing work that he did do. Why couldn't he do this work here?
God knows, because it probably costs money, or it wasn't what he wanted. You raised a good point, and again, I mentioned this to Stel yesterday, and I don't think anyone's picked up on it. When we said we're going down, Ben, you and I were together on Sunday when we spoke about this. Then you and Sim did the next day about this new style of way we're going to look at the football club, and we're reaching out to bookies and all these other ones to try and create this formula. Well, if you've hired a director of football and a chief footballing officer, or you're about to hire a director of football, maybe, surely they should be deciding what, because Daniel is staying away from football decisions. He's staying away from them. He's not getting involved. But we're going to go down this road, and anyone we hire has to follow that. Why is it not, let's bring in the director of football to work with Scott Munn if a director of football does come in? Because I was saying yesterday, I heard that we're not even going to go that far, and there won't be a director of football. It will be Scott Munn, chief footballing officer, and the manager. Well, surely it'll be Scott Munn and the football manager's decision to go. Yes, we know with Brentford and Brighton this avenue or this football and this method is working, but just because you implement it right now, it's not going to work on the first window. The new manager has to be appointed and assess the squad and see what players we've got and what he wants and what he wants to get rid of. Then that manager needs to say, right, these are the players I need in these positions. And then you need to start running up the data to find the player that fits the attributes that the manager wants. Yeah. So we've got to do all that. It's going to take 2-3 years for that to last. We need now, right here, right now, for next season. But nope, again, he can't keep his nose and mouth out of anything, and his eyes. He is all over everything at this football club, everything. And until this man is gone, and until the owners are gone, this will keep happening. It will be this time next year, and we're talking about manager X being out.
Lee, Romano's just tweets out a quote from Jose Mourinho. He says, Tottenham is the only club with which I do not have a close bond, probably because the stadium was empty at the time of COVID and because President Levy didn't let me play the final and win a trophy. But it's the only club in my life I don't have a close bond with.
Yep. Well, do you know what? Thank God for Jose Mourinho and these managers that are now talking. Thank God. We need more. We need more players, more ex-managers, more directors of football, more whatever it is to come out and speak it as it is. Not what they need to tear this place down. Because you look at people go Jamie O'Hara, Ramon Vega, and these people, and Jermaine Genius, other players coming out, and then if they come out and say this, it was like, oh, well, Ramon Vega was a crap player. Yeah, won a trophy. Won a trophy. Jose Mourinho was a shit footballer. Great manager. Makes no difference. Jamie O'Hara, who people are now going, oh, Ledley King stands up for Spurs, and he does this, and well, he's on the payroll. Of course he's going to say it. Jamie O'Hara is a Tottenham Hotspur boy through and through. Funnily enough, he's not paid by Tottenham, and look what he says. Jermaine Genius, not paid by the BBC. Look what he is paid by the BBC, not paid by Spurs. Look what he says. We need people that are not on this payroll. I would love Gary Mabbutt. If Gary Mabbutt would come out and say something, would be incredible. But he's won't.
He's also on the payroll from the club, isn't he?
He is. But Gary Mabbutt is one of the nicest men you'll ever meet in your life. He is an absolute scholar and a gent. and does so much. You look at what he did during COVID with calling the vulnerable. That man, I love him dearly. Whatever that man does, I'm
Grandpa
okay.
for about an hour during COVID, I think.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable human being, but I'm talking someone of that ilk, someone of that stature within the Spurs community, or within the Spurs players or management, needs to come out that is not on the payroll and say so. I mean, Stevie Perryman has started to say bits, but we need someone like him to come out, and then this will get a lot worse for Levy and Enoch, and it needs to be.
Brian, I think we should play a bit of Ryan Mason bingo or something. Like, when do you think Ryan Mason is going to be announced as the new Spurs permanent manager?
I still think it's be Brendan Rodgers.
You think Brendan?
It's got it written all over it. Someone even said in it, apparently he has been approached already.
There's no reliable sources saying that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, put it this way. Listen, with this club and with Daniel Levy in charge, there's no smoke without fire. That's what you got to remember. Even with bullshit, there's an element of truth in it because of what goes on at this football club. I think okay. If I was to put it down to two people, Rodgers or Mason.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Fantastic.
That is the sorry state of our beloved Tottenham Hotspur right now. But Brian, thank you so much for coming on today, my friend, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Listen, I'm going live at 7 p.m. once I finish work, and we'll be doing my absolute nuts.
Working
and
hard, Brian.
It gives more time for the shit show to develop. Always a pleasure, guys. Always a pleasure to everyone in the chat. And as always, Levy out.
His some news coming out of BBC, Simon Stone, who's very reliable. He says well-placed sources have suggested that Tottenham still retain an interest in former Spain and Barcelona coach Luis Enrique, who is without a job since standing down after the World Cup.
So another manager that will be out of a job within.
So what day is he going to be
6 to 18 months
rejecting us? When's he going to be rejecting us? Next week?
Well, as soon as all the reliable journalists come out and say that he's very much in the running, Spurs got a real big interest, the meetings are starting.
We've done a video on him, so he's guaranteed to reject us.
Yeah, the day after. The day after all those journalists come out and say there's a meeting about to take place, that's when he'll reject us. Let's move on to our next. Actually, let's just get onto a few super chats just before we do. N17 Spurs saying, if Luis Enrique will be on the wheels, what to expect? Tony Young saying, I've had enough. The board don't learn. Levy out. And Marcus Patterson saying, only a Qatari takeover can save us at this point. And welcome to goal to Philip Paul Peters. But let's go on to our next guest. He's on the move. He's ready to kill. He goes by the name of the Joracle. How you doing, Jory? You on mute?
What's it? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, I'm okay. How about you guys?
Another day in paradise, Jory.
Yeah. I mean, I've been almost catatonic when it comes to Tottenham for quite a while now. So this doesn't really. Well, it does get my blood boiling a little bit, to be honest, because I thought this was even beyond what I expected of our board. So yeah.
Jory, why?
Yeah,
Jory, maybe you should walk into Hotspur Way. Maybe they can. Maybe they'll think you're Arne Slot.
Yeah, maybe. I'll take the 7 million, no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't be in worse shape, at least. I don't know if it'll be as good as Arne Slot, but it won't be worse than what we've been doing. So. But yeah, I was like, today I just thought like, Levy is this kind of. I think everybody knows this type of kid. The kid in the playground or on the football ground or in school that just doesn't get it. And you try to be patient with them and you try to be tolerant and you give them another chance and another chance. And the first thing they do after you forgive them once again is do the absolute worst thing that you can ask them to do, and you just want to stomp their head in. There's no hope for them. I think I think Sim, you said it well there with the Empress got no clothes on. I do believe we're kind of dealing with that kind of a situation, to be honest.
Yeah. And in terms of what the club are like briefing media with, like Spurs aren't when there's a difference in the asking price, we're not willing to go to 15 million, and that's been the big stumbling block. I mean, 15 million to rejuvenate the club with a new manager shouldn't be a big price to pay, in my opinion.
It's
And so
ridiculous.
do you believe that? Do you believe that's the real stumbling block?
Well, no. So this is my theory of what happened here. Is like Arne Slot really wanted to come. They started negotiations. It was always obvious Feyenoord would take a pretty penny for it, and Levy right away at the first chance pisses everybody off in the negotiation. Probably upping the price unnecessarily as well. Levy goes away thinking that he's going to get a call back and another chance at going at it. But Arne and Feyenoord sees the chance, and like Arne realizes this is exactly the worst version of Levy that I've been hearing about. So maybe it's not that interesting really. And Arne and Feyenoord figure out that maybe they should try and stay together, and Feyenoord gives him a nice pay rise, and they decide to simply close the door on everything and reveal this douchebag for what he is. You know, I think also honest people, though they don't maybe go for getting revenge or getting one over or something like that, I do think like a guy like Levy that's tarnishing football in general. I don't think people. I think they think it's a slight bonus to leave him in this situation. 5 days before the season ticket deadline, you know, so where he usually manages to keep the PR spinning to beyond the deadline, you know. Now he's really in a fix here, you know, with that part of it. So yeah, this is what I think happened, to be honest. So
And what's the next steps now for Tottenham? Because Conte got sacked. All the fans were calling for Pochettino's name. He's going to Chelsea now. We didn't want to engage in talks with Pochettino. We didn't want to call up the phone, even though, you know, he was desperate to come back. And then the number one target was Vincent Kompany. You know, he said, no, I want to stay at Burnley. And then Xabi Alonso was our number one target. He says, no, I want to stay at Bayer Leverkusen. And then Nagelsmann was the number one choice. And then we ended up apparently rejecting him. And then Arne Slot. And then this stuff happens. So where the hell do we go from here?
I'll tell you what, till the deadline, you'll hear Pochettino might be talking to us. You'll hear Nagelsmann is back in the picture. You'll hear De Zerbi might be a candidate. You'll hear all of this bullshit, and it will fall through. All of it, of course, because there's nothing in it. And it's like I said it when Conte, I think like a week or so, after Conte left, I sent you a super chat saying we were going to be dreaming for the days of Nuno and the Nuno search, you know, and I truly believe that's what we're heading towards, you know. What I did like, you know, it's amazing how bad the board and the organization in general are at PR, but we also have to give them credit for when they do it right, because it seems to have been utter bullshit like always. And that was saying we're going to go for Arne Slot, we're going to go for a rebuild, we're going to tear up contracts, we're going to start looking at data, we're going to stick with him for 3 to 5 years, whatever. All of these things were the right things to say. Not, it would have been even more right to fucking do them, Levy, not just say them. If you were to do them, then maybe you could save yourself. Now, I truly believe, like the only order of business coming up next should be getting Levy out as a chairman. I know the board in general are the problem. It's not only Levy, but we gotta take the victories that we can. And I think Levy has now put the club and the brand in terms of football in a place where anybody taking a Tottenham job now, it's going to be embarrassing for them. If they have any clout, even as an up-and-coming manager, it's going to be an embarrassing thing to do. You could have seen big former managers, like Enrique, go for the challenging. Like the Magic Challenge. If you can win something with Tottenham, it's kind of like Excalibur or something. If you can win something with Tottenham, you're the chosen one, but I don't think we're going to see any more candidates for that kind of stuff anymore, So, I think we're in it. Like, I don't know where the bottom's going to be, but it's rock bottom time, and it's going to be worse than the 90s for sure, unless the board really pulls themselves together and get Levy out of the way. I don't know voting wise if that's a possibility to get the majority without Levy's votes, but Levy himself should then at least listen to his corporate cronies and get out of the way.
There's actually been some breaking news, Jory.
Okay.
We've got a super chat from Sean Butler, Spurs Talk Show, and he says, #Levy out.
Yes, I knew that. I was actually going to break that. I was listening to Sean Butler's show when he said it. My jaw dropped to the floor. I couldn't believe it.
Call in, Jory. I want to hear. I want to know it's definitely you saying it.
But it's good he sends that now, by the way, because I want to pick up to Sean, and I think the way he today, especially the way he described his journey towards this and his reservations about not being Levy out and so on. I think that was really, really eloquent how he did that on his show, and also I think. Even the ones that are like, because what I do a lot of the time is I speculate into maybe the negative aspects of it. I like do my Jericho conspiracy theories about what's really going on and so on, And I think Sean has tried to do almost the opposite. He's been speculating into maybe a little bit more positive view and maybe benefit of the doubt kind of approach to things, but at some point, and it's different for everyone, but at some point you just, the evidence is so overwhelming that the incompetence is crazy, I mean, I attribute a lot of malice to Levy all the time, but even the malice is nothing compared to the incompetence, because I can see it, even if you were a supervillain, you would at least fucking find better PR than you're doing, and you're not doing that. So I have to conclude that you simply are completely clueless as to what you're doing, And I do think it's a corporate world up there on the board, and they know everything about corporate this and that. It's a bunch of high street hustlers that are, trying to run a club like a high street shop, and we're not a high street shop. Completely different setup. Are you there, guys?
Yeah, we're listening.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a completely different setup of markers for success, So, yeah, I don't know. Like we've said it so many times, you think it can't get any worse with this ownership, but apparently it can. And I'm reserved to it. It just has to button out. I don't know where the button is, but I can see anything happening from now on, because we also know how, take, whatever club you want, when a footballing brand goes really bad, like ours is doing now, the fall can be quite breathtaking, to be honest, So, yeah. I mean, what do you suggest? What do you think? between the two of you, what do you suggest is the way forward now?
The only way forward, I genuinely believe this, the only way forward is for him, Daniel Levy, to step away from all footballing sides of the company. And I call it a company because it ain't no football club anymore. It's a company that has a football team. That's what it is right now. And he needs to step aside, and we need to get the values back in this club. We need to get the values back. We've lost everything. We've lost literally everything to do with the values of this football club, and he has destroyed it all.
Yeah, and he's gonna take down his company as well. Eventually, it will come back and hurt the money side of things. Even though we all know that it's the real estate revenue that's the real profit for this company. But the compromise, the easy compromise, Lizzie, is be chairman of Enoch. Fine, don't be chairman of Tottenham. Have a real chairman. Let it be its own independent unit, and let the evaluation skyrocket, to be honest, because if you put a pair of qualified people to run this club, like people in Brenton, like people in Brighton, like people we've had in the club, by the way, who didn't get their advice heard, really. This club has only one way to go, and that's upward, you know. Are we going to win the league? I don't know. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we're successful by our own premise, that we put everything on the field and do everything to have success on the field, and then we'll win what we can win and lose the rest, you know. That's fine. What we all know now is that we're not competing. We all know that we're spending money the worst of any club in the league. We all know that we're doing it by Levy's gut feeling and so on, you know. It has nothing to do with the actual, you know, facts of running football, you know. So yeah.
Jory, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. We'll speak to you next time.
Nice to see you, Jory.
Likewise, guys. Levy out.
Levy out.
Sammy Mockbell has been tweeting his version of events. He says Slot was fully open to joining Tottenham, but the 15 million fee to get him out of Feyenoord has stunned Spurs bosses. Even after Slot's announcement that he'd be staying at Feyenoord, it is understood he was fully open to joining Tottenham this summer, and there remains disappointment that he isn't joining the Premier League outfit. So he's reporting that it is true that Tottenham balked at the 15 million price tag for Slot, which is ridiculous in itself if that's true.
It's an absolute joke. This club is a joke. I mean, they never cease to amaze me. I can't believe it, man. I say I can't believe it, but I actually can, because this is the way we're run, and this is the way we've been run for a long time now. Super chat from Ilya Markowski saying, Levy is the highest paid chairman in the Premier League. What does he have to show for it? He is in the Comden in every scenario. Our protest needs to step up. Scorpion Fan for Life saying, I want us to continue downwards, as I know fans who back Levy and seem to think he's doing well. They say Conte and Jose were awful coaches. Absolute madness. Spurs Talk Show, I'll say it again, says Levy out. Big up Sean. And KPV says, big up guys, get me on. I've got loads to say about Daniel Levy. Let's hope he's wearing the right shirt this time. Let's bring him on. He is wearing the right shirt this time.
Shut up, Ben. Pissed off with you, man.
You came on my show.
Wrong answer, mate. You messaged me during the wrong time in the evening, mate. It was about 12. You messaged me the wrong time, mate. I was busy and you messaged me. Come on, man. Enough is enough, man. Enough. Don't do it again, or else you know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Ball hammer, mate. Bad news about ball hammer.
You're a West Ham fan now.
It's this, mate. That's what he used to do. And you'll get it.
Well, KPV, you said you got a lot to say about Daniel Levy. What have you got to say?
Just get him out of the club, man. Get this quick out. I'm done. I can't stand the guy. 22 years, one trophy. Like, he wasn't even at the club. We didn't win the trophy 99, fella. Like 2 years, 2 years later he comes. Like I've been saying Levy out for nearly 15 years alongside Brian Daigle. Like just get the prick out. I can't stand him. I can do better job. Brian could. Get him out.
KPV in. KPV in.
Daigle in. Don't forget as well. Every single day is Levy out day. That's from Brian. I learned it. Like, we can't keep going backwards. Like, bringing a new manager that won trophies everywhere they've been. Like, we can't keep doing this, man. What is going on at this shit club? Like, we're a mess. We can't finish 6th. Brian have just qualified for the Europa League, so we can only finish 7th or 8th. Like, Conference League, I can't stand that competition. Sim doesn't like it. Like, I just rather be out of Europe for a while. Just get out of Europe for a while and, like, concentrate on the league for next season and top 4. I know people are saying that's a trophy. That was Arsene Wenger that said it. It's not a trophy. And
who do you want as next manager, KPV?
Well, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm going Van Nistelrooy. Yeah, he scored in a 5-3 win against us at White Hart Lane 2001, but yeah, I want Van Nistelrooy, man. He's the one that ended Arsenal's invincible run. Yeah, he missed a penalty the season before, but bring him in just to wind up the Arsenal.
I still haven't forgiven him for that missed penalty. And, not ending, I'm still bitter about that.
And still, every time he got a penalty, how many times did we lose 1-0 to Man United? Van Nistelrooy penalty.
Yeah, happened a few times. Yeah.
But let's not forget, he wasn't there when United won the league in 2001. He wasn't there, was he? United won it before he came in 2001, and we beat them. So, yeah, like.
So Van Nistelrooy in, and that's the bottom line because KPV said so.
Yeah, and so I want to wish Sim happy birthday a few days ago, mate. Hope you had a good one. And it was on that day last year we got top 4, and Sim was up to the game to blow it. So,
how much has changed?
Times have changed, man. But yeah, I'd go Van Nistelrooy, man, just so Arsenal fans can moan about him. Like, they're going to be scared of him because they are. He's the one that ended a invincible one, penalty, then Rooney scored the winner. And Terry Henry said that, you know who didn't touch him, he dived. Well, less of that, rude boy. And big up to Expression for standing outside the Emirates and talking Robbie again. No, Robbie wasn't there, but he's got a t-shirt that says, bigger fish to fry. We had it all in our hands. History, mate. I tagged you in it on Twitter, Ben. I tagged WeAreTottenhamTV on it, and it's on Twitter. So Harry Kane taking a piss out of Arsenal fans and Arteta, they're gonna win. Fuck all, mate. They ain't winning it next season. Like, what are they gonna do? Huh? They're gonna get Declan Rice. No chance. Like, he'd rather join United because Mount is currently going to go. So
we'll see.
Like,
we'll see where Mount
we got
goes.
KPV's Declan Rice's agent now.
Declan Rice, baby. Da-da-da-da. Yeah. And so I'm off to play FIFA because I've got 61 at the moment, like coins, and I'm going to get a team in the season. I've already got trips, but people don't know which who's the next player I'm going to buy. Kane's too expensive, and I see Mr. Ben here didn't do flashback Kane on FIFA 22 because you said it was expensive, and you could have put Grealish in a draft last year because you guys done a draft like
KPV. We got to move on because there's pressing topics to talk about the manager situation. So thank you so much for coming on, KPV, and we'll speak to you next time.
I'll speak to you hopefully after the game on Sunday. Like, anyway. Peace out.
See you later, KPV. Have a good day, my friend.
Levy start.
There you go.
All right. That is the KPV whirlwind. Let's move on to the latest member of the Levy out movement, and he goes by the name of Sean Butler. How you doing, Sean?
Guys? How you doing?
Yeah, I mean, going through the motions, my friend. How are you?
I'm all right. I can see my camera's doing a little bit better on your software
Look at
today.
this. Look at that.
You know why, Sean? It's because you claimed yourself as Levy out now, so your cameras are all working in the studio. That's what it is.
You know what? The best part about it is, right? I've just noticed in your settings that you can flip flop on the video. So I'm going to flip from one side to the other. See if it changes. Does it change? Oh, it's not changing anymore. It was changing in the background. Doesn't matter. Yeah, man.
Sean, can I put the salmon and trout away? Do I need to bring out the salmon and trout?
Yeah, look. Yes, you can. Like, I think there's nothing really. I said it on my stream just now. Like, I don't know what the reasons why this slot thing's fallen apart. So it's not actually about. It's not conditional. It wasn't conditional on what's happened this morning. Because if Arne Slot was just leveraging us for a better payday at Feyenoord, then then it's not necessarily about Daniel Levy this time. But generally speaking, I got to the point where, I separate the past, the present, and the future when it comes to my reflections on Daniel Levy and Enoch. And I've never been a part of the Levy out crowd because I don't share the same historical reflections on his tenure, especially from 2002 to like 2018-19. But I thought he did a pretty good job. And then obviously the last 4 or 5 years, I think that it's been at best a plateau, at worst a step back. But over the last 18 months, the series of mistakes, the frequency of them, and the kind of magnitude of them has kind of got me to a point where, like I've been saying it on my channel for a year, like he's taken the club as far as he can. Any of the strengths of his capabilities, we've seen the things that he's good at. He's done well out with the off-field stuff, and he's taken the club to a position now where the only thing that's left to do is to fix the football side, and he ain't got a clue how to do that stuff. And so, yeah, like today is the kind of straw that broke the camel's back for me, regardless of whether or not Slot was using us or whether Daniel Levy bulked at the price. Then, yeah, it kind of leaves me with no position. It's an uncomfortable reality, but essentially, yeah, I'm now Levy out. And I have to be. I'm kind of being disingenuous to my own.
Can I just confirm that's no sarcasm there? Yeah.
No, I'm serious. And I don't think it really matters. Even if out of all of this kind of weird turmoil, even if like by hook or by crook, an opportunity arises and Nagelsmann somehow manages to be the manager at the end of in a couple of weeks, or whether Poch, I don't think any of those things are going to happen. But even if there's a weird scenario, a weird turn of events where something like that materializes, it's not by design, it's by accident. It's a kind of feeling your way through the dark, and and we'll see where we go. But I don't think it's going to get any better. I think it's going to get worse. And like I say, I'm like it's a shame. But you have to kind of, if you're true to yourself and you're being sincere as a fan, myself, I have to kind of just reflect on where we're at. And I think that the present looks absolutely atrocious. And I think that the future looks incredibly opaque and ultimately bleak with this guy at the helm. A lot of people will say it's taken you too long to get there, Sean. And so it's fair enough, whatever. It is what it is. But at the moment, it's the club's a laughing stock and we're rudderless without any kind of clear direction. And ultimately, he's the guy who's in charge of it. So, yeah, hopefully maybe the Qataris fail in their bid to buy Manchester United and they turn their attentions elsewhere. I don't think that they will, if they don't get Man United, they'll just forget the whole thing. I think they'll look for somewhere else. And I read this morning that maybe West Ham are a target for them. Surely we could be a more attractive option than West Ham. So it'd be nice to see if one of them came along and went, okay, Daniel Levy, here's your 6 billion or whatever you want. And then we hand over to someone who can employ people that know how to, release the stranglehold of decision making on things that they're not experts in.
Sean, there's been a couple of reports now, one from Sky Sports and one from Sammy Mockbell of the Daily Mail, saying that the stumbling block for the Arne Slot deal was a £15 million fee that Feyenoord have been demanding from Tottenham and which we have balked at. If that is true, what's your stance if that was the stumbling block in this deal?
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd be like, it's unusual for Daniel Levy to scrimp on manager transfer or manager fees, right? I know that we were trying to figure it out on the stream I did earlier. What was the record fee for manager compensation package, and I think we worked it out that it was Nagelsmann leaving Leipzig to Munich, but this would be second, allegedly, which is it's a lot of money. But I actually don't think it is a lot of money. If you sign the guy on a 5-year deal with amortization, that's 16 or whatever, it's £13 million difference. That's like £2.5 million per season over a 5-year contract. You know, it's irrelevant, and it's such a cornerstone and an important, an essential element of, like, it doesn't matter how good your team is. If you haven't got a good manager, you're not going to win the league, right? Look at Chelsea, for example, right? So, you know, to bulk over 13 million quid or whatever the number is, 6 million, 10 million quid, it seems bonkers to me. And I'm even more surprised because usually Daniel Levy, the one thing he doesn't mind spending money on is managers. So, yeah, it's mad, and I'm really disappointed. I'm angry, and I've got no idea where we're going to go from here. And if it's all about 10 million quid or whatever, then it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. No other word for it.
And you think managers now? I mean, we're starting to see managers. I mean, second time really, second managerial search in a row. We're seeing managers kind of. Well, either we can't get deals over the line, or they're rejecting us from left, right, and centre, whatever PR you want to believe. But do you think now that for the first time, like this hierarchy is becoming a significant stumbling block to hiring these managers, and they're really looking at this club as not an opportunity, but as a potential hazard, as opposed to something that they can take on and believe in?
Well, it appears that way. I don't think it necessarily should, right? Because I think we were talking about this on one of your panel shows a couple of weeks ago. Like, to me, the fact that Conte and Mourinho's failed at Tottenham, there's no one that's going to come in that has the managerial caliber or the kind of gravitas behind their brand as strong as those two. And if they failed, then anyone else that comes in, for me, has got a free hit. You know, like if they don't succeed, well, they can say, oh, well, neither did the two big boys that went before me. And if they do find success, then it will be a catapult for their own brand to the heights of which hasn't really been seen because no one's done it before them. So I don't really see it as, I don't think it should be seen as a threat. I think it should be seen as an opportunity for up and coming ambitious managers to come in there and try and do what the big boys haven't done. But ultimately, I think, you know, it's probably quite a small community, and you know, I think that you can only kind of read between the lines and imagine that the brand of Tottenham, like the idea of managing Tottenham and working with Daniel Levy right now, is such a toxic poison chalice that no one wants to touch it with a 12-inch barge pole or 12-foot barge pole, I should say. And that to me is again another reason why, if that is the case, then Daniel Levy, you know, really has to, at bare minimum, step back from his chairmanship role, because who's going to want to come in if he's still the guy here to deal with every day?
Because I was saying before, like, and I agree with you. Everything right now at Tottenham, when you look at, like, from the outside looking in, everything should be in place for it to be a massive opportunity. Like, there has to be. The only real reason I can't see managers looking at as an opportunity is because of the hierarchy. I don't really see any other reason why a top manager would look at us and think, I don't want to be part of this. It can only be the hierarchy, can't it? What else can you see as something that's holding us back?
Yeah, maybe the impending departure of Harry Kane, presuming that he does go. You know, I've seen the statistics. Someone shared around like a screenshot of how many points Harry Kane's goals have, like, sort of gathered for Tottenham in this season. And I think from memory, it was like 27 points or something. And so if you take that number of points away from our current total, we'd have something like 36 or 37 points, which would be relegation fodder. And so I know that it's obviously not as easy or clear as a conversation to say, you take away Harry Kane, you take away those points, Tottenham are relegated, because obviously there'd be somebody else in there, and you'd hope that the team would be able to kind of pivot and find other ways to score goals. Like, that's what most good teams can do. But ultimately, I think that the takeaway would be, if Harry Kane is leaving, then this club is no better than a relegation candidate at the moment, given the contribution that he has and how impossible it's going to be to replace him. And it looks likely that Harry Kane probably will, you know, whoever the manager is, whether it happens this season or the end of next season, at some point within the managerial tenure of the next guy through the door, they're going to be without Harry Kane in all likelihood. And that is probably a terrifying prospect. for any manager to deal with.
Should we even be having these conversations with managers while the sporting director search is still at large at the moment? I mean, how can a manager agree to a long-term project of rebuild when they don't really understand the structure of what the structure of the club is going to be just after they join? I think, isn't that also a massive stumbling block, surely?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but there was people in the chat earlier on the video that I was doing that was saying, and Brian was saying it as well. And he has some sort of source or whatever that's saying that Tottenham have decided to not hire a director of football. Now, I've not seen that anywhere from anyone credible. I don't know if you guys have heard that.
I've saw that Spurs might not go for a director of football, but potentially a head of recruitment instead. I have read that.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what they're leaning into then. Yeah, in any event, look, for me, Scott Munn, I've looked into a lot of Scott Munn's history, and he might have the caliber and the credentials to be able to run a footballing group like City Football Group. But I think that, owners that operate multi-club systems like Manchester City, again, there's very few success stories. There's lots of failures. The City Football Group is a success story. Scott Munn's success at Melbourne was in no small part because of the beneficiaries of working under an incredibly well-financed City Football Group from the Abu Dhabi Group. So, I don't necessarily think you can take away too much from Scott Munn's history and figure out whether or not his skill set is more around just organizational management rather than actual football nous. And consequently, I don't think he's going to be the guy that should be, sort of conferring with whoever the manager is around any decisions. I think you do need a football specialist in a director of football role. I don't think Scott Munn's the guy. So until you have that person in place, whoever that is, it's difficult to see who the manager will be, and it's difficult to see what decisions can be made with the players that we have and what we don't have, and whether or not you can even convince Harry Kane or people like that to stay. So the whole thing's a shambles, mate. It's a whole bunch of chicken and the eggs, and the very first thing in that line for me should be a director of football, but it seems like that's the furthest, or at least from what we can tell from the media rumours, that seems like there's no clear indication of who that's going to be. And now with the managerial search back to square one, I don't know what to say. It's shambolic, isn't it?
Yeah, and they were going on and on about they need a young, progressive manager coming up through the ranks. I mean, they've now burnt Nagelsmann, Poch, Company, Alonso, and now Arne Slot. I mean, who else is there to turn to in that ilk?
Well, you think about if we balked at the price of, again, whatever the number is, 10, 15 million quid, whatever for Arne Slot, then you can chalk Ruben Amorim off because he's got a 30 million euro release clause. I think that drops down to 25 or something in the summer, but that's going to be too much unless Tottenham value Amorim at twice the value of Slot, which I don't think is plausible. And Nagelsmann, of course, is also still under contract technically. He's on gardening leave, so you'd have to pay out some significant compensation for him. So I think you can slice both of them off. I even think that Ange Postecoglou's got some compensation baked into his contract. So, I think you're probably going to find that Tottenham go after a manager that isn't currently with the club. So it's either going to be Rodgers or maybe like a Luis Enrique, Lopetegui, or whatever his name is, the guy who might be leaving Wolves. He might be out of the door soon. I don't know where else to turn, but yeah, I think if Tottenham can't be bothered to pay £13 million compensation for what appeared to be a first choice, then to me it would suggest that we're going to go for someone that's currently out of work.
Would you be completely surprised if Ryan Mason gets given the full-time job?
If he does, there'll be. I think that there'll be absolute. There'll be carnage. I think there'll be riots outside the training ground in the stadium, not just protests. I think there'll be absolute riots. I don't think we haven't seen anything really in the last couple of months from Ryan Mason to think that he has. He might have got us playing marginally better football, but ultimately the results weren't any good. And also, I don't think he ever had a plan B. Every time we started games well, or we had some sort of upper hand, once the manager we were competing against tweaked something, like in the Brentford game, as soon as Damsgaard came on, Brentford looked like an entirely different outfit, and Ryan Mason just sat there kind of doing this, scratching his chin, but didn't really have any ability to kind of pivot himself. So again, I think it's crazy to think that a guy that hasn't got any actual first team managerial experience can, it's the hubris on him to think that he can step into the Tottenham job just because he's been around the club for a few years. He has to go and earn his stripes somewhere else. 90% of other managers that are coming up go and figure out, learn on someone else's dime in the lower leagues. And
what about Graham Potter?
What about him? I think. I mean, that's probably not. It's probably more plausible now because I guess he's out of contract. I don't think his time at Chelsea did him any favors, but I think he was set up to fail at Chelsea anyway. At this stage, I didn't want him. He was sort of 5th or 6th on my list at the start of the search. But at this stage, if you're going to give me, the managers that are left that haven't turned us down yet, he's probably creeping up the top of the list right now. I think he's got something about him. He did a good job. It took him time though at Brighton. It took him 3 years. The first year he didn't do very well at all. Second year they started to get things going. Third year, he got the best out of them. So again, if he does come in, you have to be patient with him like we haven't been with other managers, I guess.
Sean, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. Great to have you in the club, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Cheers, guys. Take it easy.
Nice to see you, Sean.
Let's keep going. We're going from the newest member to one of the oldest members in Stelios. How you doing, Stel?
Ring, ring. Hello. Is that Ben? How you doing, Ben? What? Yeah, I did mention Arne Slot 3 months ago. You want me to come on and do a show about it? Yeah, of course I will. No worries, mate. Yeah, I'll be there. What was the point of that? What? Why did we do that show? Like, who are we kidding? We actually tricked ourselves. We were going to bring in a guy that we kind of all felt, yeah, that makes sense.
At least it was great content, Stel.
Yeah, listen, if it helps the channel, I mean, do you know, Ben, Sim, you got about 1,600 people watching this show, right? That's 1,600 people that have tuned in because they're sick to death of what is happening at this football club. They've all tuned in today, and they'll all tune in to all the other shows that will go on today and tomorrow because they are fed up, sick of it. And the reality is what? Nothing's going to change. Nothing will change at Tottenham Hotspur because Daniel Levy, he sits in his seat on a match day. He looks to the left. He looks to the right. Sold out. Millions of pounds coming in. At half-time, he gets a phone call from all the different service managers. Yeah, hello? How many beers have we sold? 10,000? Good. What about the pork pies? Hamburgers? Chips? Good. Keep it going, guys. Yeah, he might get the odd Levy out. Daniel Levy, get out of our club. But his wife will sit there. It's okay, Daniel. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry, Daniel. I'll make you your favourite shepherd's pie tonight for dinner. I'll make you your favourite. And then after the game, he gets a phone call from the club shop. Yeah, we sold 6,000 Heung-min Son jerseys, 4,000 Harry Kane scarves. The NFL merch is selling well. Everyone's in the South Stand, partying, drinking. Why does he need to change, guys? Just think about it. The spreadsheets, the pie charts, it's all good. There's no reason to change. He's getting the concerts in. He's got the NFL. He's got the rugby. He's got the Formula One. He's got 20,000 different sponsors for the sleeve, for the cuff, for the zip. There's a sponsor for the back of the short, for the sock. There is no reason. There is no reason for him to change anything because he knows no matter what he does, no matter what happens at Spurs, the punters will come back and pay the money. The only way things change at Spurs is either you protest or it's got to get a whole lot worse so fans completely snap. So All those fans that continue to go to the stadium, all those fans that continue to support what is happening, completely snap. And that is a tragedy that is what it's got to take. That fans have got to go to complete breaking point of a relegation battle for Harry Kane going and joining our rivals and becoming the greatest ever striker in Premier League history, wearing a different jersey. And that's the reality, guys. What more can we say? Brian's been saying it for 5 years. I've been saying it for 5 years. Ryan Isaacs has been saying it. Fans need to stand up and take action. Otherwise, the spreadsheets are still going to be good. The NFL are going to be happy. And the shit show goes on.
Stel, what do you think about the reasons that have come out as to why this deal has fallen through? Some reports are saying that Slot's not has concerns about the structure of the club and where they're going and the direction, and some other reports from Sky Sports and now Sammy Mockbell are saying that Tottenham balked at the 15 million price, which would have been what it would have taken for Slot to get out or fine, or some are saying as well that maybe Slot used us to get a better contract. What do you think the truth? Where do you think the truth lies?
I wouldn't be surprised if Slot used us to leverage his position, because Seville, they sold us Brian Hill for 25 million plus Lamella. Then we gave Brian Hill back to Seville on top. So, if they can pull our pants down, why can't Arne Slot, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if he played us. But the reality is that the reason this has happened is because there is no plan. Still no plan. If you had a plan of what you wanted, so for example, we want to win the league, you would have drawn up your plan, put a time frame, milestones that need to be met each season, and said, right, who's the man for the plan? And you go and get the man. But the fact that we've gone from not speaking to Poch, to Nagelsmann, to Arne Slot, to not having a football director, to Scott Munn, who's a complete random, and then we're hearing about data analytics, and Daniel Levy's leaning on experts. Surely the whole point of a football director is or a football chief officer, whichever way you want to package it up. Surely the whole point of that guy is to come in and put the plan together. Isn't that the job of a football chief officer or a football director, to put a plan for football? But because they're not here, and because we haven't appointed those people, we're just going and trying to get a random manager. Or let's look at some data analytics, because it worked well at Brighton and it worked at Liverpool. Let's lean on experts, because Jose Mourinho is not an expert. Conte is not an expert. Let's go lean on an expert. None of it makes sense. None of it. So for me, the reason it's disjointed, the reason it's a mess, and the reason we continue to look like absolute clowns is because there is no plan. That's why no one didn't take the job. He asked, look, what's the structure here? Who's the football director? What he's basically saying to Tottenham is, what is your plan? Arne Slot would have said, look, I can consider you, but where do you want to go? But because we can't present a coherent plan, managers are just thinking, this doesn't work for me. I want to do well. I want to achieve things. But I've watched, go back to the Carabao Cup final when we lost 1-0 to Man City. Ryan Mason was manager. Go back and look at the interviews that you did on your channel in the pub that you hide out for the day. And I was interviewed by, what was the big guy? He used to be on the channel quite a lot.
Slav.
His name. Slav, right. Slav interviewed me. It's on your channel. The receipts are there. And he said to me, where do we go from here? And this was what year was that? Was it 2020 or 2021?
2020. Yeah, I think it was 2020. No, 2021.
2021.
2021, right? So we're going back 2 years ago. And I said in the interview, I don't know how we're going to attract any type of manager who's going to come here and really do a good job after we've just binned Pochettino, who every other fan base says to us, we can't believe you got rid of him. We got rid of Redknapp. We got rid of Mourinho before a cup final, serial winner. How do we look in the world of football to every other manager? Basically, I said it 2 years early. Because what I said then has now happened. And you touched on it when you were speaking with Sean Butler. Every manager that looks at this job wants assurances because they've seen what has happened to every one of their fellow colleagues in the industry before them. And I'm sure they've got a WhatsApp group or they've got some kind of platform they chat or some kind of yearly event they go to and they have a chat. And they've all said, stay away from Tottenham. Like, you're not going to get looked after there. And I feel sorry for whoever gets the job now because they're walking into the lion's den. And my money is either Potter, Rodgers, or Ryan Mason. It's going to be one of them. And God help us, Kane will go. And I don't see anything other than a disaster next season, guys. Honestly. Unless they pull a rabbit out the hat and somehow Nagelsmann or Poch comes to Spurs. But are you confident that's going to happen?
Not confident at all. And Jory said it like, I think it was Jory that said, I think it was Sean Butler actually that said it like, even if Nagelsmann comes here, it's not by any sort of design. It'll just be by complete fluke and complete luck, like what happened with Pochettino, because there is no plan at this football club. And the future just looks completely bleak. And I just can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. And I firmly believe actually it will be Ryan Mason or Brendan Rodgers. And if it is, God help us, like you say.
If it's Ryan Mason, it's game over. If it's Brendan Rodgers, if we have a half good season, we might get into top six. But I think it's a long shot because all the clubs around us are better organised. All our main rivals have a manager in place. They're ready to go into the transfer window. They've got a plan for what they want to do next season. They've all got the upper hand on us. And I don't see how we save this situation now unless either it gets a hell of a lot worse and fans start protesting, start boycotting and start demanding that football be at the heart of this football club again, the priority, or we're just going to fall apart next season, man. And you know what? To all those fans that used to say, oh, but, you know, you don't appreciate what Daniel Levy's done for the club. Don't you forget what the 90s were like. This is the 90s. This is what it was like. We're back there. So, no, I want him gone, guys. I want Levy out the club. Minimum, step down as chairman, a new face, a new vision that builds a new board. And unless that happens, then, oh, man, we're kidding ourselves if things are going to change. We're kidding ourselves. It's not going to happen. It's not.
And Stel, you need to forget about trying to compete with the likes of Manchester United, Arsenal's, Man City's, even Newcastle now. We got to be worried about the Brightons and the Aston Villas of this world. They're the ones that are coming up behind us and trumping us. Look at Brighton, right? They've just got Europa League. They've already made 2 or 3 signings for the summer.
Listen, I've got nothing but love for Brighton. I moved there when I was 18 years old. I spent 4 or 5 years there as a student, had the greatest time of my life. I watched the Albion go from Division 4 to Division 3 to Division 2 to Division 3 to Division 2, Division 1. There was a plan. They moved from the Withdean Stadium, which was falling apart. They built the new Amex on my university campus in collaboration with Amex, who's based down there. They've always had a vision for taking the club forward. They had a dream 20 years ago to get to the Premier League. They had an academy system that they were slowly building. And do you know what? Everything that club does, it's out of love for the football team. And the whole town, they're all behind the football club. And you know, guys, I'm so proud of Brighton Football Club because it means a little bit of something to me because I lived there. I even moved back there for 2 years because I missed it so much to work. Brilliant. I'm happy for them because they're a football club, not a football entertainment centre. And they deserve it. And they're proving that if you put football at the heart of your operation, if you put the right people in place with a plan, with a contingency plan for when you lose managers, you can go from Division 4 to Europa Cup. Brighton and Hove Albion, guys. Listen, I've got nothing for admiration for football clubs like that. I wish them all the best. I'm going to follow them next season. I'm probably going to support them again. Tottenham's going to be my first love. I'm not going to turn my back on Spurs, but I'm all for the Albion. And do you know what? I hope they do magnificently, just so this board takes a long look at them and says, we are being upstaged by them. But they won't. Because our board are making so much money and the wealth they're creating in terms of the value of the club, they have no reason to be jealous of Brighton and Hove Albion. Us fans, it's the fans that are jealous of them, not the board. And that's the problem, guys. The fans want one thing, the board wants something else. And this is where we're getting to that breaking point, I think.
Imagine if I told you 5 years ago when we got into the Champions League final, we'll be sitting here in 5 years being jealous of Brighton and Hove Albion.
Oh, my God. What do you mean? I'm jealous of Brentford.
Oh man,
listen, guys, look, it is what it is. Some of us have been banging on about it. Hats off to Brian. You know, Ryan Isaacs turn up to every protest. I've done as much as I can with the protests, and I just hope now fans can all get behind just one cause, one campaign of forcing change. Because at the moment we've got Change for Tottenham, the protest group, we've got Purple and Gold, we've got the Spurs Supporters Trust, we've got everyone just needs to find a place where we can come together and say, right, this is what we're going to do. Let's get our football club back. If we can do that, we can begin to turn the cycle. But there's still some fractions amongst the fan base. We're still not all there yet, but we need to get there. We need to get there. Look, if Sean Butler can be Levy out, the other 2.6 million fans in the UK can all come together for something, right?
Absolutely.
Surely we can all come together, surely. So, and you know what? Fair play to Sean. Fair play to him for just saying, look, I'm there, man. You know, some people would be stubborn and they'd worry about their image and what people think of them. Listen, fair play to him, man.
Everyone's
You
got
can't
their
knock it.
breaking point still, don't they? Everyone's got it.
Spot on.
But Stel, absolute pleasure to speak to you today, my friend, and we'll see you next time.
Levy out.
Big up, Stel.
Nice one, Stel.
Few super chats to get through before we go on to our next guest. Faz Radfar saying, would a mass walkout during matches help the cause? What do you reckon?
It'll probably wake him up a bit. I don't know if it would make him appoint Arne Slot or Nagelsmann, but I mean, it might help send a message, yeah.
The Plague is saying, would you guys take Harry Redknapp to manage Spurs? Well, he did throw his name in the ring yesterday.
He did a great job in the charity match. They won 7-1.
Yeah, exactly.
What performance.
Andrew Din saying, I reckon the way forward is downward. Our club is on a trajectory to sink lower. It will unite the fans to pressure Levy and Enoch to sell. They are not welcome here anymore. Purple and gold until the club are sold. Let's go on to our next guest, and it is Ashmatic. Yes, Ash,
Yo.
how you doing, man? You good?
I'm terrible. Look at me. Terrible, man. Oh my days! When I found out the news,
I just finished watching your video, Ash, about how all the signings are going to fit into Arne Slot's system.
I'm in the mud. Bro, all my content is done. Bro, when I found out, I was so angry. I was like, oh! I was so mad, bro. Much time and effort I put into that. So much work. I was so like one thing with like people being mad about Poch. That's one thing. All right, cool. They getting Poch. He's getting Chelsea. But whatnot. People are still happy. All right, cool. Nagelsmann, man, I'm getting gas now. Nagelsmann's coming. Blah 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 blah. Even though we're playing poor, we still got something to cling on. Nagelsmann gone. This one was it. I'm done. It's over. I'm mad as hell. I'm angry. I can't take it no more. I don't know how people are still like cool. Like they're still like normal. This was our last piece of hope. And now, if you don't get the picture now, you'll never get it. In my opinion, you'll never get it because it doesn't matter what manager comes in. It doesn't matter what manager comes in because these guys are seeing it now. But like, if it's true, we're not going to get a director of football. But even if we're so far behind, I don't even know where to start. We're so far, I can't even finish the sentence. It's like so many teams are doing business right now and we're just twiddling our thumbs. We don't know if we want a director of football. We don't know if we want a manager. We're talking about new systems, about being data-led. We just don't have a clue. There is absolutely no plan. Nothing's even written down. Nothing. We haven't got a clue. I'm sorry.
Ash, they've had 2 months, bro. They've had 2 months since Conte was sacked now to come up with some sort of plan. They've known about this court case about Paratici for probably longer than that. I mean, how have they still not come up with any sort of coherent plan to move the club forward?
This is what I'm saying to you, my G. Because look now, all the transfers, like I even made more transfer videos. Like, yeah, if we get this person, we get an attacking mid here, we get the centre back.
Scheduled for 6 p.m. tonight, yeah.
Trust me, I'm going to make a goalkeeper one later. I was like, I was getting so hyped, man, because that possibility now is all diminished. That small hope I had is gone. It's gone. Like, it was bad enough the 3-1 defeat against Brentford. Do you know what I'm saying? 3-1 at home. But fans are still okay with it. Like, fans are still, at the end of the game, they're still drinking, eating food. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, do they care? I'm like, bro, do these fans care? Or I don't understand. Like, for me, it's a thing like, can't we always go down to Leeds, innit? Like, let's just all go down to Leeds. If is Levy going to be there, let's all go down to Leeds and let's let our voices be heard or something. I don't know, man. Like, we need to do something as fans. We need to do something. We can't just sit behind keyboards and keep doing shows. And them men don't care, bro. Them men they've bought the stadium. They bought the land underneath the stadium. They're going to gentrify the area probably. They're going to have hotels. We're probably going to all get priced out of tickets because, let's face it, London has gone up in prices. So the real fans aren't going to be able to have their voices. It's going to be tourists and people that are super, super rich or super middle class that are going to be able to go to the games. And Levy's going to be laughing in the seat because he ain't going to hear no more Levy out. Or he's going to have a button that drowns them out. By that time, he's going to have like some, like, you know how they drown the music out at the end of the game? He's going to have some button that can drown out Levy out. So it's crazy. Like, what do we do here? We just sit down and watch our team just diminish into nothing. Like, it's mad. We actually are a mid-table team. Like, it is real right now. We actually are a mid-table team, and people are happy about it. People are happy about being mediocre, meaty. Why would you want to be a meaty? Why do you want to support a meaty team? No ambition, nothing. Like I said, all these teams, Man United, they're doing business, even though they're not in the best place they want to be. Even Arsenal, they're breaking down, but they're still doing business. They're still doing bits. Chelsea, as bad as they are, they still gonna do bits. They still got their manager lined up. Do you know what I'm saying? We've got nothing. No, nothing, zero. And the best we can do is Brendan Rodgers or Potter. They ain't got the minerals. They ain't got the minerals. I'm telling you. They come into the dressing room and like all they can be is a mother figure. They can't be no father figure. They can't be no dad. They ain't gonna be no boss. They're just gonna come around when things go bad. Oh, that's all right, guys. Yeah, you know, there's always next game. What's the thing they always say? We move now. What did the club say? On to the next one. I can't remember what they say. When we lose, we go again. They say, we go again. You
know, we'll learn from our mistakes. Everything's a learning curve. We'll go again next week.
I'm tired. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm done. Because you've got nothing in place to bring. Like, the only hope I have is we need more quality. We need better players. And the longer we have no manager or no director of football or whatever, your sporting director, whatever you want to call it, the worse it gets. The longer it goes, less players everyone else gets taken. We already move slow as it is. When Levy appoints directors of football, even if they are known to be fast, once they come to Tottenham, they move slow. We get our opportunities at the end of the window. So then they're going to have no pre-season. It's going to be mad. We've got one game left and no sign of any manager being any time close. That's the reason why I was optimistic, because I thought at least with Slot, Leeds is going to be our last game. And then we've got a hope that he might sign before Leeds or just after Leeds we could announce him. You know, like that. Like, well, we've got something to be optimistic about. Right now, we've got nothing. Leeds are in a relegation battle. Kane, if he's got any sense, will keep it moving. I don't care now. Kane's got to go. If he's got any pride and he's a real man, he's going to bounce. I don't care. Why would you want to stay in this sinking ship? It doesn't make sense to me. Like, he's done well. I respect him. I love him as a player. Thank you for all of your services. But look, if I'm Kane and I'm coming to 30, you know what I'm saying? How long have I got left as a footballer? Really? And there's no manager. There's no director of football. There's no directions. And the best we could do is a Conference Cup. I don't even think we're going to make that. So what if there's no Conference Cup now? Suppose we lose then. Like I can't see Kane. I can't see the ambition of the man. I can't see it. Me personally, I don't know. Like I laugh because if you don't laugh, you cry, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? That's all it is. But you can't have passion for the club and be happy with this. You can't. That's why my boy Danny has the caps locks on. I get it, man. I get it. It makes sense. Because I was that close to the WhatsApp group to doing that, bro. I'm being serious. I understand it. I'm fully there, bro. I'm fully there. Like, I don't understand how you could just be all right with this. This is mad. To me, it's mad. What kind of fans are we? Huh? What kind of fans are we? This is okay. I don't see the excuse. I don't see how it gets worse. And that's why, like some man was saying, raw, I'd rather just see man get in a relegation battle because then maybe the fans will wake up then. But I just don't know. I don't know what it would take, you man. I don't know what it would take because right now it's rough. It's rough as it is, like when we were fighting Man United, when Man United were falling off and Liverpool were falling off. There was like a small window where we could kind of just edge into that top 4, top 5 even. Because remember, they're going to do an extra spot for the Champions League. But, like, we're nowhere near that. Like man was saying, Brentford, Aston Villa, they're outdoing man because they both beat us. Aston Villa beat us, fans will call that. Brentford beat us, fans will call that. Like, managers don't want to come now. All we could do is get a Potter. They were taking the piss out of him at Chelsea, calling him Harry Potter and that. Are you crazy? Them man ain't got the needle. They ain't got the minerals. They ain't got what it takes to kind of attract top players. Do you know what I'm saying? What is Potter's best finish? Tell me, please. Because I don't think he made Conference League.
I think it was 8th or 9th with Brighton, yeah.
And that's where we're at. So that means we're a meaty team. We're a meaty fan base. That's what we expect. That's what we hope. And like, yeah, that's it. That's it really. We can't moan if we finish at 8th or 9th because we're not doing anything about it. Do you know what I'm saying? A mass protest, I heard it what man said, a mass walkout would make the board look because they're thinking, raw, they're not selling tickets, our seats aren't selling out. What's going on? Do you know what I'm saying? So the more, like, fans are going to keep on going to the stadium, I'm pretty sure of it, because they're not bothered. Most fans, I tell you what, most fans are like, meh, you know what it is? I don't even care about the club, so I'm not going to do anything about it. Well, what's the point of doing this? Because it's not going to make a difference. That's the attitude we have as a fan base. Meh, we lost, but, you know, there's always next week. Do you know what I mean? We're just like, meh. And you know what meh is? Meaty. That's what I've got to say, bro. That's it, bro. I can't say any more. Like, you know, like when men are saying, people are sheeps or people are sleeping, you need to wake up. I found we need to wake up, man. We need to wake up. And that's why I was mad the other day, a little while ago. I said, what's the point of change for Spurs? We might as well all just unite and get behind one thing. Why are we doing this one, that one? We all want the same thing. What's the point? That's why I came and I said it. I just didn't get it. I said, right, you lot are just bickering over little Egypt things. Oh, I don't like this one. I don't like that one. But you want the same thing, so why not unite? I don't
it's
get
an
it,
ego
bro.
thing. It's an ego thing. That's what it is.
It's
Everyone
not
wants to
ego.
be, you know what I mean?
Listen, the more we're divided, the more they can conquer. That's how, like, they used to take over Africa, Caribbean, India, Asia. India used to be one place, you know, and they separated it to Bangladesh, this part. Divide and conquer. Everyone knows the saying, bro. But France, we can't get past it. Just come together, unite, have some passion. Where's the passion? I don't care. No passion. I said, listen, Slot was my hope. I was like, multifaceted players, technical, attacking football, getting behind it. I thought, yeah, someone that gets it. Finally, we're going back to it. Well, it's done. We're done out here. We're done. I'm sorry. No Potter is going to come save us. 8th place. Before Brighton, where did he finish? Before Brighton, he was at Swansea. Where did he finish in the Championship? Did he even promote Swansea in his previous job? Deep that, huh?
No, he didn't.
What? We're going for
No,
Rodgers.
he didn't. But Ash, he did a great job in the Swiss league. He did a great job in the Sweden league with Östersunds.
Sweden, is that what we're doing now? Sweden, huh?
He beat Arsenal with Östersunds.
That is wild to me. That is wild. I said, look, whoever comes in now, like man was saying, it does look like the managers are talking to each other and they're saying, "Raw, boom, Tottenham. Ooh, if I was you, look out. Levy's going to say this, Levy's going to say that, and he's going to say that. You know, even before you go to the job, they're telling you, like, this is what he's say. And I said, if he says these 3 things, bro, keep it moving. I'm telling you. And they're going to the interviews and they're hearing the same things. Because, you know, Levy, they probably got the same spiel that they're telling all the managers. Yeah, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that in the interview process. That what we need to do. You know, the last few managers were doing this, but under this new regime, we're going to do that. They're not falling for it no more. The managers ain't falling for it. And those that want to come and think they can do the job, it's a joke. Mason, oh my days. Mason, you've seen how Gerrard is being broken. You've seen how Vieira's been broken.
Lampard.
You've seen how Lampard's been broken. What makes him think he's any different? What makes him think he's any special? What, because he's one of our own? Come on, man. Come on. When it comes to these elite managers now, I'd say top 8, they've just got the experience and they got the technical know-how. He's new in the game. I don't care that you've been under Conte and you've been under Mourinho. You ain't got the same minerals as them, my brother. You haven't. You know what I'm saying? You just, like, this club is a different type of beast. So you think you're going to come in and change? Look, the proof's in the pudding. He's won 1 game against Palace, and against Palace, we were needy. So, but tell me something different. I don't know. That's how it's looking. Mason, Brendan, or Potter. All right, we're done. We're done out here. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. The hope is gone. The hope is gone. Bro.
I don't blame you.
I think you're like all of us today, man. Absolutely so frustrated with this bloody stupid football club. But everything you've said, I think, in my opinion, absolute facts. Absolute facts. And I think all of us are just don't know where to turn now. Just don't know where to turn. But great call, man.
Just turn into keyboards. That's what we're doing. Coming on shows, chatting shit. What are we doing? Really? It's not going to change Levy. Levy don't watch these. You think Levy cares, bro? Levy ain't watching these shows. He's got money to make. He's got a circus to run. Do you know what I'm saying? He's got F1. He's got rugby. He's got Irish World Cup or Irish Euros coming up. He's got Beyonce. He's got
Chili Peppers.
WizKid. He's got WizKid. He's got J. The list is endless. And he's probably got more concerts we don't even know about yet, and probably boxing matches scheduled in for 2024 that we don't even know about. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the icing on the cake. And I reckon with Slot, I reckon Slot wanted to come because he's been talking about the Prem. He's been talking about, the challenge. If I'm here in 2024 and I haven't moved club, then I need to seriously question myself as a manager. And then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? 1 minute with Nagelsmann, we were never talking with him. Yeah, I'm saying, no, it's all rubbish. Now with Slot, I don't even know what the excuse was for Slot. I can't even tell you no more what the excuse was for Slot because I'm tired of their lies. Liar, Jim Carrey. That's what I can say, man. Them men are just liars and people eat it up and come with conspiracies. There's no conspiracy, bro. All the facts are there. The writing's on the wall. And you can either put your head on the pillow and lie to yourself, but the truth is out there, man. It's not all Disney. It's not all flowers. Yeah? Sometimes you have to get mad. Trust me.
Absolutely. Great call, man. And we'll speak to you very soon.
Cool. Big up.
Nice one, Ash. Absolutely spot on that. Great call, as always, from Ashmatic. Just a few super chats before we end the show. Scorpion Fan for Life saying, we're not a football team anymore, we're a business. George saying, Enoch out of Spurs, they know now about football. And that is all we have for today. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Another day in paradise of the shit show that is Tottenham Hotspur. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.